following is a UTV 44 sports production. Friday Night Rivals. This is the Green and Phillips Injury Lawyers UTV 44 Game of the Week, presented by the Mobile and Baldwin County Sheriff's Offices and the Drug Education Council.
Home opener for the Yellow Jackets of McGill-Toolen. They come in unbeaten on the year. 7A Region 1 matchup. They host the Baker Hornets, who come in with a record of 1-2, but a tough break to open the season when they lost Trey McMillan, and a tough part of the schedule to open things up for these Hornets as they come in tonight to take on McGill in our UTV 44 Game of the Week. Good evening. I'm Jim Cox. My partners Dan Brennan and Vic Lockett. And Dan, we were talking with Danny Smith on the field, and before the game, he was talking about injuries are a part of the game. Every team goes through them. Not many teams have to go through losing a player the caliber of Trey McMillan.
Well, Trey McMillan is so important to this team, and he's such a good player. In fact, on the play that he got hurt, he really messed up his elbow. And it's not surgery, it's rehab, but it may be, mid-season before he gets back. He had a great run on that play itself, 57 yards. So this is a team that's going to have to depend on, maybe running back by committee and some other players on offense to generate much of an offense.
More importantly, the quarterback's got to have a big night tonight.
Holden Verdon is a senior. This is how smart the kid is. Danny Smith, who of course, Vic, played from way back, he said, when I talk to Holden Verdon, we talk a lot of football. Because if we're not talking football, he's way over my head. Great student, one of the top students in that huge high school. But he's going to have to be more than just a student of the game. They're going to rely on his arm and his feet. He's a pretty good, versatile runner. You may remember he played some receiver last year.
Yeah, McGill, when you talk about Caleb Ross, their coach, offensive guy. He's gone against Danny Smith a lot in the past. But defensively, that's what everybody's talking about for the Yellow Jackets right now, Vic.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk about the quarterback on defense. We're talking about Trey Bendoff. Not real big guys. You take a look at him there, 5'9", 165. Got pretty good feet. He's a cover guy. Not necessarily wants to come up there and tackle somebody, but, hey, he'll get the defense lined up. Make sure there's the right number of players on the field in terms of substitutions. And, he's going to have a challenge tonight stopping that Baker offense and have to get him in the right place at the right time.
Baker's got a couple of tall receivers on the outside. His hands will be full. Kickoff comes up in just a couple of minutes. We're at the Lip, one of our favorite stops on the tour, as McGill playing host to the Baker Hornets tonight here on UTV 44. Baker Hornets charging on the field here at the Lip. Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, Vic Lockett, Ashley Pope on the sideline, Jared Kihas in the truck, Brian Aaron, our statistician, back with us this week as we get ready for this one here. We're a month into the high school football season.
Yeah, man. It's all been good. How about the Jackets with new lids now?
It's going to hear more about that from Ashley.
Yeah.
In a minute. We saw that this morning on Kelly Jones. They had live Cool Schools this morning. We saw that.
Nice.
So they were out here this morning. Katie Herrera was out here on Local 15 and talking about the matchup tonight here on UTV 44. And we talked about last week, Dan, we were talking about, Daphne, were they in a must-win situation this early in the season because of the tough part of the schedule they're playing? I think Baker, you kind of start to wonder, boy, they're kind of facing that a little bit right now too.
Yeah, they are. And this is, it doesn't 7A. It doesn't ever get real easy. Still with Foley and Fairhope to go. An improving Bryant team. Mary G.
How about a non-region game of Blunt thrown in there as well?
Wow.
For the McGill-Toolen Yellow Jackets.
Yeah.
Charles Hager.
I think Blunt got everybody's attention last week.
No doubt.
Surprise of the year thus far?
Well, I guess by final score and just the all-out way that they dominated, maybe so, but it may be just foretelling what we're going to see.
Yeah.
Hagar with the kick. Trey Roberson will take it for the Yellow Jackets right up the middle of the field. He's across the 40 and now a bunch more into Hornet territory. Roberson inside the 30, inside the 20, on his feet. Touchdown Jackets to start the game, 90 yards.
You know what, Vic? If your special teams are good, you're probably well coached. Danny Smith, your old coach, went on and on and on about how well coached this McGill team is. Well, there's some evidence right there.
Yeah, there's a result. You talk about special teams, and they're called special for a reason. Look at him. He just read that wedge perfectly. I've never even seen it read so well in terms of following your blocks. then breaking out, and then, you know, usually the fastest guy on the team is a kickoff return guy, and they did not catch him.
Man, but it's not the kicker.
No, it's not.
Charles Green will come out for the PAT, and 15 seconds into this one, what a start for the Yellow Jackets. Bubba Thompson will hold. And McGill with a 7-0 lead to open this one. They take the opening kickoff 90 yards. Wow. There's still some folks not even out of the cars yet in the parking lot.
You're right.
And they are on top by a score of 7-0. And let's go down and get an orthopedic group sideline report with Ashley.
Evidently, these helmets are already paying off. This is the first night the kids have been wearing these brand new helmets. The seniors have been bugging Coach Ross to let them wear these chrome helmets with electrifying orange colors. You'll see the new logo, MCT, with the cross in the middle. They believe to keep the cross as the heart of this football team as a reminder. So far, these kids are paying at the collegiate level if they want to.
Yeah, Caleb Ross said, you know, we've been wanting to put them on. We thought, well, we're just going to wait till the home opener.
Yeah.
You know,
and how about TV? On TV,
Yeah.
That's when you break out the new stuff. When
There
you're
you go.
on TV, when Jim and Dan show up, hey, you got to show them something.
99, Vic Lockett's here.
So Chase Mahler will now kick off for the Yellow Jackets. Pooch kick to the near sideline. Taken at the 18. And Sylvester knocked out of bounds there. Ran Sylvester, and we'll see the Yellow Jackets defense come out of the Hornet offense. Danny Smith, head coach. It kind of happened late this summer. Jack French totaled up the sick days and said, wait, I can leave now and retire early. And said it was time. He was ready, wanted to leave it in the capable hands of Danny Smith, and he takes over. And I know a lot of folks around Mobile and Baldwin counties happy for that guy to get the head coaching job.
Longtime assistant at Davidson, one of the
Shaw, St. Paul's,
top guys.
Baker.
Yeah.
Yep, he's
I
been
even
around.
coached at Shaw when I was back there way back when.
Holden Burden, quarterback, will give this one off Darius Bracey. Bracey strings it out for one to the far side there. D'Anthony Filan there with the stop. Baker offense, Martin, Burpo, Jones, Pitts, and Bassett. Up front, they got some size. Martin, 3'10". Hill on the outside and Law both can go up and get it. Also got Owens on the other side, Bracey in the backfield, Walker the blocking back, and Holden Burden, your starting quarterback. Give it back off to Bracey, trying to go on that right side. Nothing there. Washington, Miles, Stanley, a couple other Yellow Jackets in there. And the Yellow Jackets have the energy going to start this game. And take a look at the starting defensive lineup, brought to you by Greer's, Stanley, Washington, and Williams. Linebackers Marshall, Philon, Arsenault, and Eric Pond. And in the secondary, Williams, Bendoff, Young, and Lucas. We'll see some other folks come in and out of there as well. Robbie Schneider now checking in on defense for the Yellow Jackets at 3rd and 9. Looking for Law to the near side. He holds on, and he's got it for a Baker first down to the 47. Drayton Law with his 5th catch of the season.
Yeah, you just introducing the lineup. Looks like there's been a change. Looks like Trey Bendoff, who I highlighted, is out at the corner, and Marcus Lucas is in at safety.
First down on a 3rd and 9 conversion. Drayton Law, 6'2", 170-pound junior. You can see why he's one of the favorite targets of Holden Burden. Now Ricky Brown, nope, let him make it. Bracey stays in the backfield. He tries to get along the far side, moves it into McGill territory, and picks up a handful on first down. Don't forget you can follow us on Facebook all year long. Also Instagram as well. On Facebook, just search UTV44 High School Football Game of the Week. And on Instagram, it's UTV44_GOTW. 2nd and 4 after the 6-yard pickup. Bracey up the middle again, and he's to the 44-yard line. 3rd and short coming up. Stanley in to make the tackle.
Vic Lockett, they're determined to find something soft in the middle, or at least soften that middle a little bit.
Yeah, and that time wasn't the time to try to run in there. They had those linebackers in those A gaps, just covering all gaps up front and up tight, cheating up to the line of scrimmage. So knew something was going to happen with that. And doing it again this play as well. Almost running a zero coverage back there.
3rd and a yard, and they're going to throw it. Blitz coming, and they drop Holden back all the way at the 46-yard line. Coming in was Blake Arsenault, the senior linebacker, shot in and made the sack and drops him all the way back.
Yeah, he was
to the 46.
He was coming right up in that gap, like I said, lining up in there and just harassed the quarterback, got him to lose his footing, and we'll get credit for the sack.
Boy, 3rd and 1, and now you go to 4th and 12. An 11-yard loss on the sack. Alex Davis.
You want to go for it?
They had Alex Davis going back to return the punt. Now they'll bring him on. As the punt team comes down to 5 seconds, and now just Baker. The flag on the far side. Had lots of folks coming on the change there.
And side judge over there, Jimmy Kane.
Yeah,
dropping his flag.
Yeah, they weren't going to get that one off anyway. No. They were down to 5 on the clock.
It's a rough start for the Hornets.
Yeah, that 3rd and 1, you had a little momentum going there.
False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Replay 4th down.
So Hager will again come on to punt. Alex Davis will stand at the 20. High snap. Hager gets it. Good kick. Davis takes it at the 27, slips, and then he'll be brought down at the 35. And we'll see the McGill offense for the first time here tonight. Don't forget, you can reach out to us during the games. You can send us an email question at heyguys@utv44.com, and we'll do our best to get to them. You can also text us throughout the game. We love hearing from you. Uncle Henry responds. He sent us an email last week, and see if he chimes in again this week.
Yeah, I had a word with him on KSJ, and I told him, you need to shut it down, old man. We're doing a broadcast.
I know he gave you a roll tide over there somewhere.
Of course he did. That was the whole point.
I love it.
Paris Chambers, the senior quarterback, dances to the 40. He'll pick up 5 on first down. Chambers has thrown it for 388 yards and had a couple of rushing touchdowns last week. Has rushed it for 93 yards. There's Caleb Ross, the head coach of McGill-Toolen, just as likable a man as you'll ever bump into. He picks up, they'll actually give him 6. Cole Sharp takes this one out of the backfield. Sharp up the left side, and Sharp into Baker territory, and a first down.
Blockers did their job, and then he just said, the one unblocked guy, I'll just run him over.
Yeah, he did. In fact, they had 3 on 2, and I don't know why one of the blockers didn't take the other one.
Here's the starting lineups. Kaponis, Coggin, Long, Broomer, and Gould up front for McGill-Toolen. Rembert and Quay Kennedy, the receivers. Also Alex Davis on the other side. Paul Clark, the big blocking tight end, and they come this time to the near side, and Quay Kennedy going to be stopped for a loss. That one took a little while to get going. And
yeah, nice job there by that player, the defender, to just run through the tackle, defender, blocker, and make the tackle.
Baker's defense, Jones, and then he got Carter. Carter at 6'4", 290. Norwood, Wandery, along with Williams, and a host of others there at linebacker, and trying to get free Larry Rembert. And now we see the Baker defense coming alive here, and they need a stop.
Flag on the play, though, right where that scrum happened, right at the end of the play. We'll see what that is. It could be a hold on McGill. They had a few blockers out there. That was a screen they were trying to set up. Baker fighting through the blocks.
Yeah, it's just showing some want-to by that Baker defense.
They'll wave the flag off,
because they're definitely outnumbering them in terms of blockers and defenders. Baker playing with a bit of urgency and enthusiasm here early.
Baker gave up 3 touchdown passes last week against Theodore. And now 3rd and 13. Looks like the passing situation here for the Jackets. Chambers has time, comes to the near side. Rembert makes the catch. He's going to be just short of the first down.
Baker only brought 3. Only brought 3.
Yeah, went back into coverage, and it still wasn't effective. But, you know, it was pretty good tight coverage. But there, McGill receiver just did a good job of looking it on in and hanging on to it under duress there.
Good throw by Chambers.
Yep, 4th and a long 2 here for the Yellow Jackets.
Oh, I thought they got it.
Nope. And no hesitation at all. Chambers has got Cole Sharp in the backfield with him. They're going to maybe take a timeout and talk this over. We're going to have to. Caleb Ross catches it right before the play clock expires. So we're halfway through the opening quarter. The opening kickoff taken back by Trey Roberson for a touchdown. That's where we're at. And a good defensive stand thus far here for Baker on this one coming out. They needed a little bit of momentum going their way.
Yeah, they need to slow this whole thing down here. It looks like, again, early in the game, but Baker looks like they're going to have some challenges moving the football. We heard a lot of good things about this McGill defense, and so far they look good.
All right, we'll take a timeout here. Halfway through the opening quarter, 7-0 Jackets on the Green and Phillips injury game of the week on UTV 44. Fourth and 2 for the Yellow Jackets. 2 tight ends. Chambers gives it off. Cole Sharp on the left side, and he's got the first down for McGill to the 27.
For a second, you thought it was going to be a tackle for a loss there, but he runs through that would-be tackler, as you would say. Right about there, you thought he was going to be tackled for a loss, but he says, nope, we got to get this first down, kick the sticks, and go.
Sharp's got some jets.
He showed it there.
Well, spotted at the 28. Sharp comes in motion. They fake it, and Chambers will keep it, and Chambers cuts inside. And
I'm noticing one thing, guys, see if you agree with this. Everything McGill does seems to be at a quick pace.
Yeah, Coach Ross said, hey, we want to go fast. We're a spread team, and we're going to hurry up. You know, they took the trip out to Oregon a couple of years ago, and they're patterning their offense behind them.
2nd and 5. Sharp falls forward. Not much room there is Rayon Sylvester.
Up-tempo is their middle name. They want to go fast, and then he's very praising of Paris Chambers. He says now he has had a year under his belt. You know, it's funny. It just dawned on me what he's talking about. He talked about the 7-on-7 experience he got.
That's right. They played well.
Yeah, and he said he got a chance to go through that at quarterback because he knows he's playing receiver for a good part of last year, but now he's settled in and he trusts him, and he's doing really, really well.
3rd and 3. Chambers over the middle, able to get that one complete. He's got a first down, and Kennedy falls to the 12, and it's another set of downs for the Yellow Jackets.
Had a good conversation with Paris' grandmother the other night at church Wednesday night. She's here, proud of him. His cousin, Tony P2, plays for the 8 Mile Giants and wants to grow up and be like his cousin, Paris Chambers.
McGill has moved into the Papa John's delivery zone. Use promo code RIVALS to get 2 large, 2-topping pizzas for only $7.77 each.
You know, it's funny about the...
an eligible man downfield on the Yellow Jackets here.
Wow.
Backs it all the way up to the 26. So don't use the promo code RIVALS just yet. They're not sure they'll honor it at the 26. Papa John's, I bet they would. I bet they'd honor it. So this makes it
I'll take 2
and 8. Chambers rolls out, now looking over the middle of the field, wide open into the end zone. Touchdown, Marlon Williams.
You know, I'm starting to see the growth for Chambers here, too, as I watch him handle this offense. He is at the controls, and he's handling it, you know.
Yeah.
And I see why Coach Ross has so much confidence in there. It was all kind of chaos going on right here. You know, little bit of pressure on him, but he finds the guy that is wide open. And I think that's probably was his second read, because I kind of thought he's looking over there at the corner of the end zone.
The question is, how was he that wide open? And obviously a mix-up in the Baker defensive backfield. Now the Hornets find themselves down a couple of scores.
Third touchdown of the year for Williams. And Green for the PAT. And McGill has a 14-0 lead, 4:11 to go in the first. It's the Green and Phillips Injury Lawyers Game of the Week here on UTV 44. New helmets bringing some mojo for the home opener.
Man, took their lumps a year ago, but this McGill-Toolen team looks like they're ready for 2015.
Carl Boyd will take this one at the 10 for the Hornets. Tries to get to the near boundary, and he'll be roughed up and brought down at the 25-yard line. Marcus Lucas coming up to make the stop. Our Aaron's scoring summary: 8 plays, 65 yards, 353, and Williams with a 26-yard touchdown catch.
Visiting with Caleb Ross earlier this week, the young second-year head coach at McGill-Toolen. He categorized his team as a, he said, we got a lot of good high school football players.
Yeah.
And that's what you see. A lot of good high school football players.
I will see Ricky Brown check in the backfield for the Hornets, and he'll take this one on the right side, and Brown will pick up a couple.
Now, they've got a couple on defense, I think, going to get an opportunity to extend their careers beyond the high school level. So
I think you're right.
He's got a couple of them that can play.
Last week, only 3 first downs in the second half for this Baker team. You know, they just had trouble getting going. Theodore kind of really shut them down in the second half, and they need to get some momentum going here on offense. Don't want that carrying over from last week. Burden on 2nd and 8, fires over the middle. He's got that one complete. A first down to the 43-yard line. Melvin Hill with his 4th catch of the season.
Nice play there. Quarterback just sitting there and deliver a nice little strike to the guy coming in across that middle.
Receiver knows he's going to take a pop on that one.
And he held on to it.
To the 42. And a first down for Burden and the Hornets. Brown takes this one, tried to get to the outside, but Blake Arsenault is in the backfield again and drops him all the way back to the 35-yard line.
Yeah, they're just creeping up to the line of scrimmage, playing that sugar technique, and they're just stuffing anything and having to make one step upfield and make a tackle.
Exactly what Caleb Ross was talking about. Really good high school football players.
There's one right there, and of course, the middle being clogged forced the runner to hang a left. Now he's rethinking all of that.
Probably have to explain to the northern guy what hanging a left is.
Well, I think we understand directionals up there, Vic.
But how do you hang a left?
I'll explain to you what a snowblower is.
I don't know what that is.
2nd and 13, pump fake. Wanting to go deep, Holden. Nobody back there except the orange jacket, orange jersey, and it's picked off. Coming up the near side, Josh Williams all the way across the 35 to the 36, and some miscommunication there.
Yeah, the receiver just kind of broke off his route because he saw it was covered. But the quarterback had to play, I guess, from the line of scrimmage, and he was sticking with it. Pump faked him, and
Williams does a good job to go catch this one.
Yeah, he does. And there's nobody there to compete with him.
And he wants some blockers.
He got some blocks too.
I thought he was going to do the Dion and hold the football up.
Williams with the INT, and at the 37-yard line, we'll see Harris Chambers and the Yellow Jackets again. Cole Sharp looking in front, gets tripped up across the 40, and boy, Pierce Coggin was out there leading the way.
Wasn't that nice? That convoy going in front of him, and then you just cut right off of his block there. Just how the coaches drew it up.
Picks up 7. This one to the far side. Hinton With his first catch of the night, he makes a move and spins it. He's up to the 42-yard line. Brandon Hinton, the senior.
Nice soft hands out there catching the football with his hands, looking it all the way in, and then turns on the jets and then try to cut up under.
I don't think there's an offense in high school football down here that we've seen that actually snaps it any quicker than McGill-Toolen right now.
Up-tempo for sure. They get you going, and then they're going to call a play and go.
Yeah, they snapped that one at the play clock at 23. Back to Hinton on this side, an open field tackle, knocked a mouthpiece out at the 35-yard line.
And Coach Ross told me at the high school level, Chambers has a couple of plays when they do that. If he sees the defense stuffing the run, he can check out to a pass. If they're back for the pass, he can go with the run.
Again, back to Hinton, who's had the hot hand on this drive, has another first down, and Malcolm Lee comes over and rides him hard out of bounds.
He needed that one block to kick the sticks, and he got it.
Yeah, I think that's what McGill's pretty good at. You know, they're gonna get you a lot of first downs.
Yeah.
With this offense. They're just very efficient. Haven't gone downfield very much, but they've been able to take those screens and turn them into 10 yards.
Yeah, 80% of that is the defense tired too. I can tell you that.
From the 27, Chambers rolls out, fires over the middle of the field, and was trying to come to Paul Clark, his tight end. Now there's going to flag, going to be a holding call there at the 30 and back up the Yellow Jackets on first down.
Guys, I'm really impressed with, what I've seen of Chambers from last year to this year, because he was a receiver playing quarterback last year. Yep. But this year he's a quarterback playing quarterback this year.
He was thrown into the fire. You know, he got the job
Not the kid's fault.
After an injury,
yeah.
Right. And now he's going to...
As the saying goes, what a difference a year makes.
Yep.
Huh?
Holding on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay first down.
He's one example, Vic, and I think this whole team is the entire example of 1 year later.
Well, right. Even Coach Ross was kind of thrown in the fire at a certain point, right?
He was, right.
He was a late hire as well. Trying to get the outside. Cole Sharp gets ridden down at the 37-yard line as that was Mark Starks coming in there to make the stop.
Yeah, got the sideline over there excited. A big hit there. He just kind of slung him around. Looks at him. He looks like he means business, don't you? He wants more.
Yep. These Baker kids are used to winning. You know, we think of this program as just winning here lately, but these seniors on this team, winning, getting to the playoffs is all they've known.
Try to come back the other way. The ball comes loose and recovered by Baker all the way back at the 45-yard line.
That's the break they needed. Yep. There's exactly what the Hornets needed.
Williams tried to take the pitch, and that one just went right through his hands as Cole Sharp pitched it back to him.
Yeah, it was just their distance between each other just wasn't a good relationship, and it just went right over his head there. Didn't look it in. It was too close to make any of adjustment because of the relationship between the pitcher and pitchee.
Caleb Westbrook on the recovery for the Hornets. So each team with a turnover. A good field position for Baker here at their own 45 with just 9 seconds left in the opening quarter. Tracy on the right side stood up and driven back. Eric Pond in there, another one of those good high school football players.
Yep.
Played a bunch last year on this team.
Another one of those Pond outside linebackers, too.
We're through one on the Green and Phillips Injury Lawyers Game of the Week on UTV 44. McGill-Toolen has the lead 14-0. We'll come back to get you ready for the second after this. Ready to start quarter number 2. Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, Vic Lockett, Ashley Pope on the sidelines. Jared Kihas in the truck. Brian Aaron, our statistician, on 2nd and 10. Holden with pressure from the outside. Now he's going to tuck it and run at midfield. And he'll stay on his feet and step out of bounds at about the 48-yard line. And let's go down and get another orthopedic group sideline report from Ashley.
With the new helmets, with the chrome color and the electrifying orange color, the team wanted their student section to dress in all orange tonight, calling it the Orange Crush. They are now sitting at their home opener, a 2-0 record. All this spirit, they definitely have shown out for the orange tonight.
3rd And about 2 coming up.
Yeah, Jim's been saying yellow jacket all night, and I'm looking for it. I hadn't seen a yellow thing out here except the penalty flags.
Well, you know that story, don't you?
Yeah, Greenwood filled us in on that one.
Yeah.
And a first down is
just a great old tale.
Darius Brown, yeah.
And you think it's true, but it was so long ago. Who the heck knows?
Well, maybe we'll go to Greenwood. He's probably sitting on his couch with his smoking jacket on tonight.
That's what he does.
The Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
First down for the Hornets. Holden Verdon, 6'4", 180-pound senior. Smart kid, not just in football.
No.
Everything. We'll talk about that a little later
we'll
on.
hear more about him later.
Bracy for penetration up front for the Yellow Jackets. There's a host of them in.
Living on that side of the football. Look at there. He's over on their side of the line of scrimmage. He's just picking his peas.
Yep.
Rip
Danny
Williams
Smith there
is the first one, and Danny Smith does not.
And let me tell you guys, Danny looked just like that plus 20 years ago when I was in high school. Just like that. Now,
He was
what
a
he's
young-
drinking and eating, I want to know.
Well, he was a young coach then. I mean, he was a young coach.
Yeah, he was pretty
back
young,
then.
but that's still I don't look the same way.
Danny's just 48.
How about I'm 40 or 50 pounds more?
Far side, some contact there, and there comes the flag as they look to Drayton Law again, and there was a lot of pushing and shoving up the far side, and I think it's going to be a first down for the Baker Hornets.
Trying to find a little magic, maybe a big play down the sideline, break the log jam and get in that end zone.
Yeah, looking for that splash play to see if they can get a cheap one there, but no deals up to the task.
Williams, who had the interception in the first quarter.
Did he call illegal procedure on them?
Defensive pass interference.
Oh, okay.
That's a 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
Push him right out of bounds.
Yep, they'll put it to the 29-yard line. Actually, they'll move it up to the 27-yard line.
But they've got some beef up front. The Baker Hornets. They try to grind it again in between the tackles.
They do, and Bracy squirts through inside the 20 down to about the 16.
Yeah, some nifty little running there. It was definitely shut down when he stuck his head in there the first time. He just kind of chopped his feet there and hoping something to open up. And there it is. He's breaking out the other side.
Yeah, nice lateral movement by Bracy.
Good job to hold on to that football as well as the Hornets have moved into the Papa John's delivery zone. Use promo code RIVALS. 2 topping pizzas for just $7.77 each from the 16. Holden wants to keep it and falls to the 15-yard line.
Yeah, and Holden with those long legs, he kind of scares me going up in there. It's like they're going to break those toothpicks.
This kid played some wide receiver for them last year, and you know that you look and see what this team doesn't have from a year ago. They had you know, a Badger at quarterback, a kid that really was a great leader, and Holden's an excellent player, but a guy that really led by example.
And you're missing
Trey McMillan.
Trey McMillan back there. Who's,
one of the best backs in the state.
Yeah, who's just a junior.
Yeah.
A dislocated elbow. Sounds ouchy.
Thinking maybe next week, Ricky Brown comes in there, and you're right, Dan. They just keep banging away up the middle, trying to wear some Hornets, trying to wear some Yellow Jackets down on the inside there. Third down coming up. Now Fairhope, I think 4 times last week in the second half, got it down into the red zone, but could not convert, could not get any points against this McGill defense. Ernest Hill, the new defensive coordinator, came down from Walker High School as the head coach at Greenville a couple years, defensive coordinator for 4 years at Spanish Fort, including the 2010 state championship team, as Bracy tried to turn the corner and gets knocked back at the 15-yard line as Trey Bendoff came up there to make the stop.
You know, Caleb Ross had so many good things to say about the coordinator and then so many good things to say about the players that they pick up on it so quickly. Yeah, he's got good. He said, but we don't do anything anybody else doesn't do. I mean, we haven't reinvented defense.
Yep.
But these guys relate to the coach. They get the message. and then they perform as he's asking them to do.
He said it's very hard for our ones to go against him in practice.
Right.
He said, and I'm the offensive guy. He said, I'm a play caller. He said, it's very tough. 10th play of this drive here for the Hornets at 4th and 7.
Man, this is one of those drives you call a gut check for the defense. You're out there that long.
Looking for the corner of the end zone. More contact up, and it's knocked away. Looking for Drayton Law, and good coverage again back there by Josh Williams, and another red zone stop.
Yeah, it looked like Law had it there, cradled it in, and take a look there, but the defender just knocked it out at the last second. Yeah, thought he's going to catch it there.
Yeah, he had it in his hands.
There's a little hand checking going on with the ball when the ball was coming down.
Let it go. Let's play.
Williams continued to battle.
All's good in love and war.
A little bit of a physical, they were going for the mismatch there, 6'2" against 5'9". But Williams just battled to the point where he was able to break it up.
McGill takes over at the 13. Near side trying to turn the corner. Trey Roberson gets it up to about the 19-yard line. Let's go down to Ashley for our Faulkner State Educators Spotlight. Ashley.
I am here with Baker, with Mr. Agnew and Keegan from Baker High School. They were just telling me a little bit of something about their new AP capstone program. Tell us a little bit more about y'all being like the first year doing it, one of 4 schools in the state.
That's right. The AP capstone program is a program that we as a school applied to be a part of. And we were selected one of 4 schools in the state, the only one locally in Mobile or Baldwin County. It's a 2-year commitment for our students. They're going to participate in a course called AP Seminar, and where they get to research topics of interest to them. And then a second year will be AP Research, where they can basically complete a dissertation in high school.
Keegan, what do you feel about doing this already in high school?
I'm really excited. We get to learn like new things, and we look at different things that you normally wouldn't think about, which is really cool. And it's a really cool class to look at.
How do you think this is going to prepare you for college?
It's going to give me a new perspective of ideas and things that are actually going on in society, and just seeing the big picture and everything.
Wow, starting them younger and younger. Thank you very much, and good luck tonight.
Great. Thank you so much.
Chambers doing a little Johnny Manziel there, huh?
Yeah, well, we reverted back to his wide receiver days there, being elusive there. So he can take the cape off, apparently, and jump in the phone booth and be a wide receiver, and then come back out as a quarterback.
Yeah.
Bobby Flott will be back to receive this punt.
Hey, big stop by Baker.
Yeah, Chase Mahler will punt from about the 8-yard line. They force a 3 and out. Mahler with a good kick. Flott takes it at the 40 and had trouble with it and falls right on it. And Baker will get good position, and their defense comes up with a good stop there after they were thwarted down in the red zone. Busy night of high school football. Howell Bryant and Fairhope, Theodore and Davidson, Foley and Mary G, Murphy and Viger. That's always a fun one. One on the road up at Centronell, Robertsdale and Daphne. See if Daphne can rebound. Saraland back down at Gulf Shores, and LaFleur taking on Spanish Fort tonight. Escambia County and BC Rain, Williamson and Faith, St. Paul's and Jackson. I mean, the game maybe in the state tonight. That big 5A matchup, number 1 versus number 2, UMS and Clark County. And you see a whole host of other games as well tonight. Geneva and Hillcrest Evergreen, Leroy and Flomaton, Sweetwater and Mobile Christian, Washington County and St. Luke's, and McIntosh and Milry. J.J. Blackshear taking on Fruitdale. And Baker takes over at the 40. Got to get some points. They've moved the ball. Got to cash in at some point.
Yep.
This is Ricky Brown to the 45-yard line before he's slung down. DeAnthony Filan, who's the guest on the pregame show, made the tackle.
Gracie and Brown, two-headed sledgehammer now with the All-State back on the sidelines till at least next week.
It just changes what you do. I mean, you've got 2 talented running backs back there, but he's just not. You just don't replace a Trey McMillan.
No, it's just a different level.
Pickup of 6. Second down, fired to the near side and dropped.
Yeah, I thought Trey got there a beat early myself.
I kind of thought so myself.
Yeah, he just started wrapping up, which is not his forte. And the ball was en route. Let's see if we can see it right here. He's on him, and the football gets there and beat after.
Trying to go to Marquise Owens, leading receiver coming in tonight's game for this Baker team.
So it looks like Trey is just going to stay out here as the corner instead of playing safety tonight.
Bendoff fought through a block to get there. You got to give him credit for that, Vic.
3rd and 4. Holden rolling out, looking, fires, and complete to the 38-yard line as Marquise Owens comes up with a great grab and a great job by Holden Burton to keep that play going.
Yeah, pretty athletic there to keep the play alive under all the duress. Head down the field is what I like out of these quarterbacks. You know, let these receivers be the athletes and just deliver the football. Look at, he's looking for somebody, and then the receiver comes back to him just like he's coached. When the quarterback's in trouble, try to come back and work to the side where he's rolling out to. Nice completion there.
Great job by Owens to make the catch. And a first down for Baker. We'll take a timeout. 5:44 to go in the second. 14-0 McGill on the Green and Phillips Injury Lawyers Game of the Week. Back here at the Lip. 14-0 McGill with the lead. Baker with a fresh set of downs after the completion. Bracey on the right side. We'll get to about the 36. We just talked about those other games going on, and right now Jackson has a 9-7 lead over St. Paul's. Numbers 1 and 2 doing battle in 5A.
Like a nice defensive struggle there. I enjoy that.
Just a gain of 1 there on first down. Darius Bracey, a little help from the official. Tim Dees getting his shoulder pad line back up. Law up to the top of your screen. Heel to the bottom. Looking that way. Law falls down and then fired incomplete.
Good effort trying to get up and still make a play on the football, but just couldn't get up quick and fast enough.
There were times during the day when it was raining pretty good here, so the field probably a little bit slick, a little bit soft, but it's really been a great night. It's still early September, and we've got almost a cool evening.
You said we get in the press box with a great air conditioner, and we don't need it tonight. Could have used
first press box we found with a good air conditioner in about 14 years.
You knew it wasn't going to be too long before these guys at McGill get it straight down.
There you go.
Yeah.
3rd and 9 for the Hornets. Burden comes back to the far side looking for Drayton Law, and that one goes incomplete.
These corners are fighting through the blocks. That, of course, look at a bubbled screen right here, but it's blown up.
Well, and you think about McGill, they run a lot of that bubble screen, so they see a lot in practice and able to come out here and act on it in a game.
And again, I'm wondering if he's not so familiar with it that he got there just a touch early again.
Yeah.
Josh Williams.
Williams again seemed to be just like on the other side, maybe on the receiver's back before the ball got there.
4th and 9 from the 36, and it looks like the Hornets are going to go for it here. Down to 5. They have to hurry. Get this one off. Down at 2. And now they call a timeout.
Good job by the quarterback recognizing that the time is expiring on the game clock, play clock.
All right, let's go down to Ashley for another Orthopedic Group sideline report.
You know, Dan, you were just talking about the weather today, and one thing about having turf, it is amazing what the rain can soak up. And actually, at the end of this football season, McGill will be pulling up this turf and replacing it. It's only good for 10 years. After year 5, they can put a Band-Aid on it, but it only holds up for about 10 years.
Yeah, I'm talking to Caleb Ross, Father Shields. I may install that in my backyard. It's getting hotter and hotter.
So you can practice your putting, right? Because you're not going to practice your tackling. I know that.
So I don't have to cut it.
When that wheel fell off the lawnmower at my house a few weeks ago, the neighbors really wished I would have had turf. They really would have wished that was the case.
I like to start that trend.
I'm all with you.
Go with turf.
And that way it's green in the winter as well, right?
You're looking good. Might get a little.
All those great barbecues I hear out there at the Brennan Estates, they'll even look good on the turf, right?
Turn the sprinklers off. It does. I mean,
save water. Send some water to California, right? Because they're thirsty out there.
Rip them right out of the ground.
Lake Mead drying up out there near Vegas.
4th and 9, and McGill still has the offensive unit. I should say Baker still has the offensive unit out here.
And to finish what Ashley was saying, I was talking with Bill Griffith. He was telling me about they're going to rip it up and they're going to take it all the way to the fences, and there'll be no grass out here whatsoever.
Wow.
I didn't even notice the grass was out here.
4th and 9. We'll see if Verdon does a little quick kick. That's what he does. Does not get what he was looking for as that one comes up and then takes a McGill bounce to the 20. So they pick up 16.
How about he downed his own
punt.
pooched kick there, Jim? I don't think I've ever seen that, the punter down his own kick.
All right, let's check in with our Scholastic Athlete of the Week, brought to you by the Gulf Coast offices of Alexander Shannara.
I am here with Holden Verdon, our Scholastic Athlete of the Week from Baker High School. He is so busy that he couldn't come out of the classroom that we came to him today to talk a little bit about everything he is excelling in. For instance, not only are you the quarterback on the field, but you also have a 4.4 GPA and involved in numerous academic clubs. How do you manage all of it?
Oh, you just got to take it day by day, be organized. You can't put too much on your plate, just one day at a time.
And with this being your senior year, I read that you're wanting to actually go out of state for college. And I'm sure with the academics that you have, you pretty much get to pick where you want to go. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am. I'm just, I haven't narrowed down anything right now. Just trying to enjoy my last year,
With us being in the classroom with you today, tell us, what's your favorite subject?
Oh, I definitely love math. Last year I took statistics and I really enjoyed that. Maybe a statistician when I grow up, but yeah.
You definitely have the brains on and off the field. But this week we want to award you a plaque from the Gulf Coast offices of Alexander Shannara, and you will also be receiving a scholarship check in the weeks to come. And we just want to congratulate you on your achievements.
Thank you very much. I'm very honored to have you.
Holden Verdon, our Scholastic Athlete of the Week, and the quarterback with that 4.4 GPA, 30 on the ACT. Also plays tennis, member of the National Honor Society. The French club, the high Q team, wants to earn his degree in mathematics, and sharp young man. And
looks like Lockett's resume at Shaw right there.
Yeah, the one that I made. You're right. The one that's not actual factual.
That is impressive, though, isn't it, Jim?
Yeah, congratulations to Holden Verdon. What a putting in the work in the classroom and getting ready to get back out on the field here for his Hornets, who trail 14-0. We saw McGill moving the ball here, going to Marlon Williams a couple of times, and now they've got it up to the 46-yard line, and a first down coming up for the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, I know Danny's got to be proud that that guy, that young man's his quarterback, the natural position leader on the team, and he's leading on and off the field, so he's an example to the rest of the players, and he hopes that permeates throughout his team. Nothing but good things can come out of that.
That's right. Humble young man, too.
Yeah.
While we have a second, we give you our New Horizons Credit Union trivia question. We're here at McGill, so we went back in the McGill archives to dig this one up. What coach holds the record for most playoff wins at McGill-Toolen?
Yeah, I would say, and then of course I want to bring it up, the passing of Coach Glenn Yancey.
We talked about him
my vote
last week. Fired off on the far side and complete to the 48-yard line. How about this score at halftime? Viger leads Murphy 14-0.
Wow. It's funny because
pickup of 6 on first down, and you see that tempo continue.
That's their MO.
For McGill, Sharp in motion out of the backfield. They'll come this way. Gets a good block on the outside from Marlon Williams, and now he's down inside the 30. Williams, I know you love seeing the wide receiver making the block on the edge.
Yeah, and Jim, you pointed it out. He got an excellent block. I mean, he drives this man completely out of the sideline, and he's out of the picture here. Jared's having a problem getting the zoom that wide, but that opens up the play to get some good yardage for the receiver.
At the 30-yard line. He was looking to get it to Sharp, instead wants to heave it into the end zone. Incomplete. I think he wanted to come to Sharp out of the backfield. It looked like Sharp was having like some trouble with his helmet or something.
He was having some equipment issues there, and he's like not paying attention to the play, but just going where he's supposed to be.
And Chambers was looking to go there and smart enough to pull it down, so that looks like a disaster.
Yeah, he went to his second read, and I thought that was going to be a completion as well as the ball
a little overthrown
in the air.
I think the one guy in history that could have caught that would have been Willie Mays.
Chambers zings it to the far side. Williams holds on to that one, and he's got a first down to the 17.
Yeah, he caught that one twice. On the second one, he holds on to it.
I know Vic's talked about, how about Chambers, the job we're seeing out of him here tonight?
No, he looks really solid, really efficient in year 2. You know, they had great success in the spring, great success 7-on-7. So they had an idea they were going to be a whole lot better this year.
McGill in the Papa John's delivery zone. You can use the promo code RIVALS to get 2 large pizzas with 2 toppings on them, $7.77 each.
Well, it helps. And Dan, you remember God rest his soul, a great
false start. Offense. 5-yard penalty, replay, first down.
Bobby Jackson, the first thing we do when we used to do our radio show, we look down the roster and see if the other team had a senior quarterback. And that is a big, big thing to have a senior quarterback. And that's what Paris, you see, and he's growing into those shoes. Being the senior, he's had that year on his belt like we talked about, went through 7-on-7. He's at the controls and handling it.
Looks good.
Yeah. Back at the 22. Quade Kennedy comes in the backfield.
They do a lot of little things right, don't they, Vic? I mean, you can just see the sharpness in the offensive line.
Well, it's looking like the McGill of a couple of years ago.
Right.
Not necessarily the most athletic, not the biggest guys on the team. They've always got a few skilled players, maximize those talents, have those other players just play within the game soundly.
2nd and 12. Blitz coming. Chambers looking for the end zone and just overthrown as he was trying to go to Kennedy again.
It was the right man to go to. It was an all-out blitz, and then they had that zero coverage one-on-one. Yeah, let one of those receivers make a play. Just got to get it in the area where they can make that play.
UMS on top of Clark County, 21-0 at the half. Terry Curtis and the Bulldogs continue to roll on. A couple folks checking in. Tal Vickers watching the game tonight. So how to Tal watching over on the Eastern Shore.
All the Jacket students are in orange.
Orange Crush, as Ashley said.
The Orange Crush. The new helmets looking really sharp on TV. And the team looking pretty good, too.
At the 25. Baker shows blitz again. Chambers fakes the handoff, steps up, looking, and now there's contact as Marlon Williams' foot got tangled up a little bit over there with Jalen Crenshaw. And I think that was just some football contact, just accidental there, Vic.
You know, I wasn't watching. I kind of got caught up there with Paris in the front line to see if they were going to pick up that blitz. So late, I saw him stumbling out there. I didn't know whether it was just him losing his footage or the defender caused it.
He was more just, more a foot issue than hands.
Also, I think he had to change his direction a little bit with where the ball was thrown. So,
and these receivers these days, they're going to throw their hands up no matter what happens.
Yeah.
These divas.
3rd and 15. Chambers looking to the near side. He's got Davis for the touchdown.
Wow, I thought he had 2 options there. I thought he went to the tougher option to make the catch. And he did it.
Over the middle.
Was open.
Yep.
Alex Davis, the senior wide receiver, with the touchdown. Let's watch.
Yeah, nice play design there by Coach Ross.
Yeah, that's a tough catch, turning around.
Yeah.
Not the over the shoulder going to the front side.
And it was going to be tough anywhere he threw it to that receiver over there because he had the guy in the middle. I thought he was going to go there, but yeah, he made that receiver earn that catch.
At that point, Vic, I think he'd rolled so far to the left. That may have been the easier throw. He would have to turn his shoulders and see the guy in the middle.
Yeah.
He had his eyes locked on Davis.
Yeah, okay.
Charles Green, but there's a flag before this one.
It's funny, what looks easier from the press box may not always be the easier play for the guy,
You're right.
the guy on the field.
You're right. But I can tell you what, on Sunday, those coaches going to go by our viewpoint because that's what they're looking at.
More scores to pass along. This one coming from Martha Peak, Superintendent of Mobile County Public Schools. Love to follow her on Twitter at Super Peak. That's her Twitter handle.
Wow.
I love it.
That is
and
funny.
she's a big Twitter user, too.
Well,
and
you love it when you have a trash-talking superintendent. Love her.
She's a super peak. And,
she's great.
But how about Mary G leading Foley 21-9 at the half?
Wow.
Let's get our call here from Tim
Ball
Reeves.
encroachment on the defense. That penalty is declined.
Tim Dees with the call there, and they decline the penalty.
Tim does a good job. He made sure he was aware of it before the game.
He really does. We mentioned it a couple of weeks ago when he had his game. We said he calls a good game, keeps it going. And Green makes it 21-0. Yellow Jackets inside 2 to go. Paris Chambers and the Jackets having a big night. This is Alex Davis with a touchdown. Jacket fans, a lot to be happy about right from the opening kickoff.
All going along script, isn't it? You got the new helmets. You got the kids all dressed in orange. You return the kick for a touchdown, so you establish momentum inside the first, 4 seconds of the game.
Yeah, you got Dan and Jim here putting it out to the world. Broadcasting it. It'll be a better night for the orange-yellow Jackets.
Kicks this one off. Boyd takes it at the 15, and he's got a head of steam and then takes a big wallop across the 30 out to the 35-yard line. Baker with 1:44 left here in the first half. We talked about it to open the broadcast. So we look at the Aaron scoring summary. 9 plays, 79 yards, more methodical, like you talked about, Dan Brennan.
Yep. Last week we saw a team put up 42 in the first half. And so many big plays, explosive plays with great athletes on the outside. And then just a bludgeoning defense that was really, really physical at the line of scrimmage. That was the Blunt team last week. This is more of a group high school effort, right?
Yep. Bracey ahead, and we talked about it, Vic, to open the broadcast about, McGill, and certainly when Bart Sessions was here, it was all about, defense. They were known for those great defenses, and Caleb Ross, the offensive guy, comes in. You expect that. We talked about the defense. What's your impression of this defense that we've seen here in the first half from McGill?
Well, to me, it looks similar to what Bart Sessions was doing. They always going to be undersized and overmanned as you look at them getting off the bus. But once they get out there, they're going to play sound, and they're going to be in their gaps they're supposed to be, and they're not going to make mistakes. And they protect the edges. And they've got a few skill guys, and they maximize those skill guys that they have.
Back to Bracey, who slips, and there was all kinds of pressure coming as Rip Williams was in there again.
Now, right there, I'm going to just tell you, these defensive coaches are making some good guesses on when to call these blitzes, because they are
right on.
Yes, they are just on the Baker side of the ball.
Yeah, and McGill takes a timeout because now with 3rd down coming up in 54 seconds left, they'll get a chance. They can make a stop here, get the football back.
Jackets getting a little greedy in their new helmets, right?
There's Caleb Ross. We talked about Caleb coming over here, starting last year as his first-year head coach here for McGill. Had coached up in Thompson, but he was part of 4 state championships as an assistant, 3 at Prattville, and then he was the offensive coordinator for Spanish Fort in 2013. So he knows
what winning football is about
winning.
And how to make it and how to develop it and how to get it on the field.
He also competed against now Spanish Fort head coach Ben Blackman in high school. Those guys are about the same age from up in the Montgomery area.
Want to thank our presenting sponsor, title sponsor, Green and Phillips Injury Lawyers. They want to remind you that accident victims, you should call 911 and get a police report and seek medical attention. Victims on average get 3.5 times more compensation with an attorney. The attorneys at Green and Phillips Injury Lawyers, they're local. They live and work right here in our community. No appointment needed, and never have to pay for parking at their offices there on Florida Street. So thanks to them for coming on and being a big part of high school football.
Absolutely. All the sponsors
here on UTV 44. 3rd and 9 for the Hornets. On the keeper, and Holden Verdon is going to be dropped for no gain, and another timeout from McGill. And with 45 seconds left on the clock, they will
And there again, good
football back.
defense. You know, there was a man taking care of the pitch guy. And there was a man, two of them actually taking care of the quarterback. So good disciplined football out of these guys. And that's what, you know, I've grown to see out of these McGill teams every year.
And we were talking about, you know, the success that Caleb Ross had. You know, he was offensive coordinator all those years at Prattville, and all those Prattville-Davidson games that we saw here on UTV 44 in the playoffs, saw those a lot. And it was Danny Smith was the defensive coordinator over on the Davidson side, and you had Caleb Ross calling the plays. So they were talking about, we've been calling plays against each other for a long time, even back before
games,
that. Yeah,
right?
Games that meant a lot.
Yeah.
And over the years, I bet they picked up on tendencies of each other.
No
And that's
question.
probably why we're seeing what McGill's doing to Baker.
Yep. And you know, it's funny. Caleb was telling me, he said, it's funny what happens in your life. He said, he was a big part of that staff in Prattville in 2009 or so when McGill played up there in the semifinals.
Yeah.
And he said,
was that the game when Kihas almost got arrested? Was that the game when Jared almost got arrested at the stadium?
That's the one. But he was like, you know, never in my dreams would I think someday McGill and I would cross paths like this in terms of I would become the head coach of that school. Never dreamed of it. And now he says he's just so happy and settled in.
Loves it. Loves the kids. Loves being here.
Loves the school.
Good kick. Alex Davis at the 25 and a flag. Two of them come in. And Davis will just head out of bounds. And that's going to back the Yellow Jackets up with 33 seconds left and McGill out of timeouts.
Yeah, I think Davis just was trying to preserve some time so that his offense can get out there and get some work done. Try to get something going, get a field goal or a score out of this.
He also saw the infractions in front of him and realized they're going to be back way up.
Yep.
Impressive performance here in the first half by McGill-Toolen. You kind of thought last year was just going to be a blip. You know, lose your quarterback, you know, big injuries.
We have holding on the receiving team. That's a post-scrimmage kick enforcement, penalized 10 yards from the end of the kick. First down, first down.
You know, it's going to be a new quarterback one way or the other. And they had a lot of youth last year. As you watch the replay, and there is the wow. Yeah. You know, you can see that at Bulls on the Beach at Floribama next couple of nights.
Well, we heard the coaches going crazy in the next room as well, so you knew something very egregious was going on.
And it was.
Yes.
I'm back at the 18-yard line.
When you do that to somebody, I think you should yell, yeehaw.
It was more than 8 seconds. Chambers wants to air it out to the near side and wanted Williams to come back for it. It'll be incomplete.
I don't know that he
back shoulder or
I don't think he wanted Williams
pass.
I think he just undershot it a little bit because Williams had a step.
Well, sometimes you'll miss as quarterback. You don't get them all.
No, of course.
2nd and 10 with 28 seconds left. 4 receivers for the Yellow Jackets. And they'll give it off right up the middle. And this is Cole Sharp, and Sharp across the 30 and now all the way out to the 45-yard line. And now with 20 seconds left, they'll stop the clock. Ooh, they let it go to 17, but even out of timeouts, you can get set up, and now you can take a shot here.
Leonardo Shin started rethinking the angle he was taking at safety there. Sharp almost got by him.
And the play calling totally changes now.
Chambers looks, fires, and that was a little miscommunication. He and Rembert came to the inside, and then a flag gets dropped late.
Yeah, I thought he interfered with Rembert way downfield there and impeded his route, and maybe that's what they're going to call.
Yeah, because Rembert came back to the inside, and the ball was thrown to the outside.
Yeah. And he was fighting to get to the inside, which shouldn't be doing that 20 yards downfield. You can't touch him then. They'll huddle up and have a conversation about that and sort it out.
8 seconds left. This would be a 15-yard walk.
Oh, no, they call it on the offense.
Offensive pass interference. And that'll change the play calling up dramatically as well.
Yes, it will. The negative way for the Orange Yellow Jackets.
All the way back to the 30-yard line with just 8 seconds left.
Now you don't want anything to go haywire going the other way, right? You've got to be really careful that you don't make a mistake.
Pass interference on the offense. 15-yard penalty, replay first down.
You don't want to hand Baker any
Nope.
points.
And Baker still has a timeout.
They do. 1st and 25. Expect a little handoff to Cole Sharp here to end things out in the first half.
That would make sense right now.
And Chambers does, and Sharp right up the middle, and that will bring the first half to a close. Impressive performance by McGill-Toolen. They lead 21-0. Impressive on both sides of the ball and special teams. They open things up with the 90-yard kick return, and wait for Ashley to grab Coach Caleb Ross, and she has got him. Let's go down to Ashley for an orthopedic group sideline report.
Coach Ross, just tell me a little bit. You were able to gain the momentum, in the very beginning of the game. What does that mean for your team to jumpstart like that?
Well, it started with a kickoff return. Trey Roberson with a bit. I mean, that set the whole tone, and then we come right back and scored on offense. But then we're still making a few little mistakes on offense that's hurting us. But proud of the defense. Baker drove a little bit right there, but we held up. We got the momentum. We just got to keep it up. I mean, bottom line, we got to come out in the second half and put this game away with the first 2 series.
What is your plan in the second half to keep that up?
Just do the same things we've been doing. Attack them. We've been going after them on defense, and we're going to keep our plan. We got a good plan. Just got to stay with it.
Great. Thank you, Coach.
Thank y'all.
Coach Caleb Ross and his team on top 21-0 at the half. At the end of tonight's game, we will give you 3 players to choose from for the player of the game. Last week, Dan Brennan, there's a lot that could have been chosen, but this was the guy who really had it going for Blount, Kadarius Toney.
Well, he was in charge of everything, and it all started with Toney, and they had over 400 yards of total offense in the first half against that Daphne defense. We just never saw it coming after what we saw from that Daphne defense a week before.
Stats were gaudy, no doubt, but we talked about more than anything the poise, like right there from that young man.
Never felt like he was the moment was too big or the defense had him pinned in. He just glided around in a way that we haven't seen a quarterback do in the pocket in a long time.
So congratulations, Kadarius Toney, winning the Tank Brown Award, Player of the Week. And at the end of tonight's game, we'll have 3 choices for you to choose from. You'll be able to go to local15tv.com to vote on your Player of the Week. We have got looks like a Halloween theme, maybe halftime show coming up from the Baker Band. We'll have that coming up for you next on the Green and Phillips Injury Lawyers Game of the Week on UTV 44. Halftime here at the Lip. McGill-Toolen on top 21-0 on the Green and Phillips Injury Lawyers Game of the Week on UTV 44. And let's go down to the field for the Pepsi halftime show and enjoy this great Baker Band.
There is another. undone.
Phillips Injury Lawyers Game of the Week here on UTV 44. It's been all Yellow Jackets so far. Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, Vic Lockett here with you at the lift. And Dan, it was McGill from the get-go in this one.
I mean, you can't get and go any quicker than this. Trey Roberson returns the first kickoff of the opening kickoff of the day. And, of course, that puts McGill on the board right away.
Yeah, 90 yards, took that opening kickoff and going. And then this was really set the tone early on from this one. And then McGill offensively, they really have been impressive, and they've been just impressive defensively, Vic.
Yeah, I agree. And the change that they made with Trey Bendoff going to corner and Marcus Lucas going to free safety, I think that has paid dividends for them. And, special teams, like Dan pointed out, I think the special teams set the tone offensively and defensively. And you got to say something about Paris Chambers and the maturation you see out of him as he's just, really making plays and grown up here in the year that we've seen him.
Chambers with touchdown passes to Williams and Alex Davis in the first half. And that has McGill on top. High score of 21-0, and Mahler will kick off. Carl Boyd at the 7. Boyd with a big hole right up the middle. And he's out to the 34-yard line as we look at how things played out statistically in that first half. 241 yards of total offense for McGill. Each team with the 1 turnover. And McGill 160 yards through the air and very efficient. We used that word earlier, Dan Brennan. 13-20 for Paris Chambers.
You'd always think fast pace and methodical.
Yeah.
But in a way they were, because they didn't have a bunch of big plays, but they had a bunch of good plays and positive plays.
And efficient, like you said.
Yeah.
See Chambers' number there, sharp, 6 rushes for 58 yards, and not really much offensively going for the Baker Hornets, and they need to get that going here, and Ricky Brown will be hit for a loss of about 5. And let's get an orthopedic group sideline report from Ashley.
Coach Smith said come out of the locker room that they have 2 more quarters, that they've got to come back, and that they can come back, that they're only down by 3 possessions, and they want that to be only 1 possession. We'll see if they can do it right now.
Nice pink cell phone there. Ashley got there.
Loss of 5.
I don't think I'll look good with a pink cell phone, Jim.
Vic, you could do it. I mean, not everybody could, but you're one of the guys
I can pull it off, huh?
Yep, and get a flag before that one. Hey, interesting score to pass along north of here. Jackson and St. Paul's, as we said, number 1, number 2 in 5A. St. Paul's 3 first-half turnovers, 97 yards of total offense, trailing 16-7 at the half. When was the last time the Saints trailed?
Dead ball.
You're right.
On the offense, replay 2nd down.
Maybe against Jackson last year in the playoffs, the game we did.
Yeah, early, 7-0.
Yeah.
Lev Holly, the guy that just won that big game a week ago, Blunt over Dabney, he left Jackson as an assistant, and his son, one of the top safety prospects in the state of Alabama, just a junior, big kid.
6'2", 195.
Yeah, he's one of the ball hawks. Wouldn't surprise me if he got one of those turnovers.
This one incomplete, trying to come to Marquise Owens, and good coverage back there again by Bendoff, and then
a little early.
Yeah, but I think Burton saw him there and kind of altered the way he wanted to throw that football, because that was great coverage there.
Yeah. I thought Bendoff got there a beat early there, coming through him, and he, of course, heard the Baker coaches calling for it, but the Zebras got the last say.
Yeah.
And they said nothing.
Yeah, and I think that's the third time. I mean, McGill definitely is in place, and they're definitely competing and covering well. But I think they've gotten the benefit of the no call 2 or 3 times.
Well, home field, yeah.
3rd and 20. Holden Burton looking this way, going up, and unable to hold on to it was Melvin Hill, and Trey Bendoff again over there on the coverage.
Yeah, he's playing the role of the game. And I think that was Trey Young, number 3. And good effort there. No, it is Bendoff.
Young came over to help out, so good field position squandered there by Baker to open this one up. How about another interesting score from the Birmingham area? Hoover behind, losing to Oak Mountain right now, 14-10. That one in the 3rd quarter. Low line drive kick. Bounces it midfield, and Grabbed there by Alex Davis, and he'll be right at the 45 with nowhere else to go, but outstanding field position. And the defense continues to shine for McGill-Toolen here. We'll let you know more folks that are proud to be a part of high school football. We're proud to have them with us every Friday night, including the Mobile and Baldwin County Sheriff and Drug Education Council. Also Alpha and Pepsi, proud to bring you our sideline or our halftime report each and every week. Get on the near side, waiting to turn the corner, and able to do so is Roberson. Roberson into Baker territory to the 47-yard line.
Being led by Pierce Cogden there. Pierce Cogden ran a long way, and he didn't have anybody to hit. And he's like, I didn't even come out here just to run some hundreds or something.
He ran interference. He created space, but he never really got anybody on the ground.
He's tired this play, I bet.
We've seen him out there a few times. Chambers, nice touch to the far side to Rembert. And Rembert still on his feet inside the 30.
You know, from a year ago, it's like somebody else is in that uniform. That's how good Chambers was. And again, it was tough duty for him last year, being thrown into the job after the starting quarterback went down with a shoulder.
And Coach Ross has been high on him, and you can see why. His play is just you know, light years ahead of last year.
Just a junior. Roberson trying to turn the corner, and he gets a nice hit there at the 25, as that's Malcolm Lee making the stop. He just continues to not go well for St. Paul's. They've just turned it over again in Jackson. 4 turnovers now.
Well,
5:38 to go in the third.
In Legion Field, right?
Yes.
Yeah, tough to turn it over 4 times and win anywhere.
Rolling out Chambers off the back leg, throws it into the end zone, and nearly going up was Marlon Williams. I thought he was going to go up and pull it down.
I did too.
Malcolm Lee was there, and it looked like Williams was going to high point that ball and pull it down.
Yeah, it looks like he was going to do a Terrell Owens back there at the back and go over the top of the defender and take that ball because it belongs to him. But good play. Give credit to the defender back there to bat it down.
Bring up 3rd down and 6 from the 24. Pressure coming. They set up the screen, and it's deflected and nearly intercepted, and it did indeed hit the ground.
Yeah, I saw that real quick there. The back just kind of went by the Russian defender there, and he was trying to set up the middle screen there, but wasn't able to make it successful there.
Johnny Jones, the defensive end, nearly had the interception there after it was tipped.
So did our pregame guest, Tom Cruise.
Gavin Laundry.
Yeah. What a great kid he was.
Oh, wonderful young man. Was nervous about the pregame show, but did a great job. 4th down. Chambers near side. He's got it. 1st down. Marlon Williams. Williams, another one of those juniors for this McGill team.
You know, Chambers makes a great throw on a critical play.
Yeah, just like his, nothing else, nothing going on here but playing a little football.
Well coached.
McGill in the Papa John's delivery zone. Takes Rivals to get a couple of pizzas for $2.70. 2 of them for just $7.77 each.
I'll take 2, Jim.
We had a little discussion last week. I like onions on my pizza. You like onions?
Oh, no. Onions don't like me, brother. Y'all wouldn't like me if I ate onions. I promise you. You do the game on the roof and say, Vic, stay in the booth.
All right, I think we got the clear picture on that.
All right.
2nd and 10 for the Yellow Jackets. Cutting this one back inside. Roberson to the 10-yard line as Laundry had him by the ankle and wasn't letting go. Could get it down to the 3 for a 1st down here on 3rd and 7.
And they still got their foot on the gas here.
I think that's going to be.
Did the play clock run down?
No, it wasn't. I think they had at one point they had 12 on the field. Let's see here. Unless maybe Baker took a timeout. Yeah, Baker took a timeout. Yeah. There was some. Like McGill was trying to maybe change some personnel, and Baker wasn't sure. And
well, that's what that hurry up tempo does to you. You know, it makes you get confused when you're trying to do some substitution and you don't have the right personnel and you don't line up correctly, so it makes you burn a timeout.
Yeah, and I also think that you better be well coached at it, or you're going to mess yourself up.
That's right.
And with all these personnel packages and moving at such a rapid pace, we've seen a time or two when McGill looks like they're not quite sure exactly what's going on either, but so far it hasn't bitten them.
All right, let's tell you about another one of our friends bringing us high school football every Friday night. Coastal Clinical Research, dedicated leader in the pharmaceutical research industry. Currently enrolling over 15 different studies. All qualified participants will be provided with medical care, medications, and reimbursements at no charge. There's no monetary cost involved for research participants at Coastal Clinical Research. Thank you for them joining us here on Friday nights throughout the season.
You could do those 15 studies on me. I don't know what they are, but I'm beginning to break down, boys. Starting to break down.
Dan wouldn't know what is placebo and what's not.
3rd and 7. Here for the Jackets. They're on top, 21-0. Chambers looking the right side, fires it up, and he's got it for the touchdown to Alex Davis.
He thought he was throwing it away, and he knew exactly where the route was going to end up.
He did. Because when you watched it from where we are, we have a good angle on it, obviously. We're thinking, now, where's this ball going?
Is he just getting rid of it?
Right.
Nope, his receiver drops it right in the bread basket. Coach Ross has got to be feeling good about things.
2nd touchdown tonight for Alex Davis. 3rd touchdown toss for Paris Chambers.
McGill definitely making a statement tonight.
How about the draw on that play up by Caleb Ross?
I've seen some nice design plays all night out of this group. You know, he's in charge now, and he's just having his way on the blackboard.
And the PAT by Green is good. It's 28-0 McGill. We're 4 minutes into the 3rd, and the Yellow Jackets are looking strong here tonight on the Green and Phillips Injury Lawyers Game of the Week on UTV 44. Starting to look like an Orange Crush in more ways than one.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. Crushing them on the field, crushing them in the stands, and I was enjoying the nice Orange Crush last night as I watched the game. I'm happy with the outcome. Nice time.
Bracy brought down inside the 20. Boy, Paris Chambers, what an evening he is having here tonight on UTV 44.
You know, he had somebody in his face, too, on that one.
Yeah, that was a touchdown to Marlon Williams earlier. Then he came to Alex Davis for his 2nd one, and then goes back to Davis on this well-drawn-up play. Nice touch on the ball, and Chambers go ahead and put his name up for one of the players of the game we'll be voting on this week.
Yeah, I know his grandmother here and present, enjoying watching her grandson have a great night here on the Game of the Week.
You know, how about the learning he took last year?
Yep.
You know, young quarterback, you know, kind of thrust into it, wasn't really expecting it, but really paying great dividends this year as Bracy slips and maybe gets back to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and the other thing, again, Jim and Vic, is that he was the young quarterback kind of thrown in there with a young team, too. So it wasn't like, you know, they knew that they were going to take some hits.
New coach, new system.
Yeah.
And that was where I was going to go. Credit those coaches for getting him ready.
Yeah, Caleb was the offensive coordinator, so not a new system. But you see the Aaron scoring summary there. 10 plays, 54 yards, 2.5 minutes. And Davis with his 2nd touchdown catch of the night. No gain on 1st down, and we'll see if Baker starts trying to put it up a little more here. Down 4 scores. Burden looking to the near side and broken up. It was a good job by the DB to actually go up and knock that one away.
I
because
think actually
the wide receiver.
by the wide receiver to knock it away. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
they switch roles there instantly.
They put Bobby Flott, who's starting cornerback, at the wide receiver spot, and
he had no choice, right?
Yeah, he didn't have a play on the ball, and he wanted to make sure the defender didn't have a play as well.
Offensively, they're just taking some shots with one-on-one coverage down the sideline, but you don't see a whole lot of intermediate pass. You don't see anything that's you know, ball control in the air. The run game, though, has been just about shut down by this attacking McGill defense. Now just with 3 on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, Blake Arson, they've been having a great game defensively.
3rd and 10. They come to the near side, and nothing doing as Melvin Hill makes the catch and then pays for it as All of the Jackets are there.
There again, that's just a great example of good defense. You know, they've got the whole field defended. Every blade of grass is defended well by the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, that's Carlos Smith who made the stop. Carlos Smith was awarded one of the GoDaddy Bowl game scholarships earlier this week.
Man.
So congratulations to
kudos
Carlos there, and then makes the great play to bring up 4th down.
McGill a step quicker all night long.
Yeah. They're in the huddle, too.
Gets the kickoff, and Davis dropped it, picks it back up, and then took a big hit from Malcolm Lee. Boy, this Baker team, they've just got to get Trey. They've just got to get Trey McMillan back, and you can't rush the young man back. Just a sophomore in that dislocated elbow, and you know he wants to play, but you got to. You know, they're going to, it's a long season. And
well, for the good of him, too.
Yeah, for sure.
He's got a chance to keep on playing.
That is 4 straight punts in the last 4 possessions. And great field position again. In Baker territory for the Jackets. Cole Sharp up to the 42-yard line. Next week, McGill-Toolen will take on Mary G. The game we'll have here on UTV 44. Saraland and Spanish Fort.
Uh-oh.
That should be a great environment. Chambers, time, throws to the near side. He's able to get it complete. That's his tight end, Paul Clark.
Yeah, kind of short-armed it. If he would have got a little more on that, Paul may be still running.
First catch of the season for Paul Clark.
He's a big kid. Good athlete, too.
We'll hear more from him later on this week. I don't think he was giving you the dirty looks at the pregame show, Dan. You thought he was maybe giving you the dirty looks.
Yeah, he looked like he...
You want to know part of him if he did.
That's what I
he
was
didn't
thinking.
challenge him?
We are halfway through the 3rd. So we'll take a timeout. McGill-Toolen on top 28-0. They're driving and looking for more on the Green and Phillips Injury Lawyers Game of the Week. .45 to go in the 3rd after the completion to Paul Clark. Paris Chambers now 17 to 26 on the night, 217 yards, and he'll look for more out of the backfield. And he'll get that one off to the 20, but nowhere really to go for Brandon Hinton.
Yeah, well defended that time by the Baker Hornets. As we have 2 stinging insects going at each other tonight.
Yeah, Hornets and
Yellow Jackets.
You know, I think they've gotten rid of the buzz. Remember the buzz here?
Yeah.
Remember the
Hey,
officials?
don't talk it up.
The officials were
That
getting,
is loud.
the officials were getting upset. And
Yeah. They outlawed him along with the
I start itching when it comes on.
the vuvuzelas.
2nd and 9, tight formation. Chambers looking in the end zone again. He's got Hinton for the touchdown.
Yeah, nice job by him to locate the football. I mean, his momentum was going one way, and he shifted his body around and just caught that with all hands. Take a look at it here. Paris steps back, good delivery. That's a nice job there by that young man.
Have they hit Chambers tonight? I mean, he's got a pretty clean uniform.
You know, you're right.
I don't think he's been touched.
They've had some
He's
pressure on
been
him.
rushed a little bit, but he's handled it. He makes it look so good that you don't think he's rushed.
4 touchdowns through the air tonight.
We've seen, you know, similar quarterback performances one week to the next.
You're right. Saw Tony last week, and now Chambers makes it 35-0 McGill.
It's amazing that Chambers, the whole thing was last year, you know, they had a little weakness at quarterback. The young guy wasn't really ready.
Yeah, and then they like played 2 of them at one point.
And now you've got a guy that looks like he's one of the, you know, assets of the team, the biggest assets of the team.
Again, I got to give credit to the coaching staff. You know he's an athlete. You know he can do a lot of things, but to get him to play the main position on the field for you and play it at a good level,
great level.
Yeah, Coach Ross, you got to give it up to those guys for doing that.
Aaron's scoring summary, 4 plays, 45 yards, just a minute 25, and hit with a touchdown reception.
We swear when we mull over every possible detail prospecting for these games of the week back in the spring and the summer.
Yeah.
We think that they're going to be the games of the week. But looks like we whiffed last week and this week with dominating performances by the winning teams.
Yeah, but you got to count the injuries for Baker, even though the coaches don't want to point it out.
No doubt.
They are part of the game, and they are going to happen.
Yep.
We might get a chance to see these two dominating teams that we've seen the past couple of weeks in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, how about that?
Blunt and McGill
right here
with a matchup right here as late flag comes in. So scoring update from Jackson. The Aggies have made it 23-7, shocking the Saints.
And the Hornets will take over at their own 38-yard line.
You just don't know. And I talked to people who...
Any given Friday, right?
Yeah, and talked to people who I considered in the know.
Right, me too.
And they confidently said, you know, I think St. Paul's going to be just fine up there. Well, they're not.
I talked to someone.
They're in a fight.
I talked to someone
They're
today.
losing the fight.
Yeah.
Hold against Baker will put it all the way back to the 22, who knows both programs well, was on his way up to his hunting camp today at about 11:30, and he said I think the Saints by 10. And
the other way around.
Yeah.
Looks like he was wrong.
23-7 at this point. 4 turnovers, but you know, when was the last time you saw a St. Paul's team turn the ball over 4 times in a game?
Your friend was off by 26. Okay, I just did the math. At least to this point.
Up the middle, Ricky Brown to the 23 as we approach 4.5 to go here in the third quarter. Next week, as we said, we started to talk about a second ago, Saraland and Spanish Fort up at Saraland. And that is going to be an electric atmosphere. I mean, we saw what it was like a couple of weeks ago against Daphne. You know, those two teams, a history, a brief, albeit a brief one, 2 programs parallel to one another, kind of seeing kind of the same blueprints in place for both, I think.
No, I agree. And we've talked about that comparison. Also,
this one incomplete as they tried to come to Melvin Hill.
I think I'm going to go ahead and just park at the University of Mobile and walk over.
I was going to, Jeff Kelly, if you're watching, you're such a great help to us. Got to help Brennan and I get out of there.
It's terrible. It's terrible. It's one way in and one way out.
It was 45 minutes in the car to get out of there. And I'm just going to tell you, I don't handle that. Road rage is just, I'm a really calm, docile guy.
It's hard to have road rage at 0 miles an hour.
There was that. And then I cut off Miss Vickery on the interstate trying to get back across the bay.
I'm from Pritchard. We're not comfortable with the one-way ins and one-way out deals, and that is not good.
Well, they give it to Ricky Brown.
Hey, it's a great school and a great stadium. This little jam getting out of there, but how about the game?
It's just going to be spectacular between those two schools. And you know, we haven't seen, it'll be our first look at Spanish Fort. Haven't seen him with Coach Blackman taking over.
Hearing good reviews on them.
Yep. Maybe, I know a lot of the Spanish Fort people thinking that, you know, that defense, you know, going to be as good or maybe better than the 2010 defense, which was just, you know, unbelievable. Trey 3 out tonight with a sprained ankle, not playing for Spanish Fort.
Okay, that's a loss.
Yeah, he's a leader. The punt here, and that one nearly blocked. And then Davis is bumped into as he is able to make the catch on that one at the 41. So that'll give us a chance to
get a penalty there.
Told you about the Baker Scholastic athlete Holden Verdon earlier, and now we're going to hear for the Scholastic athlete this week for the McGill-Toolen Yellow Jackets, tight end Paul Clark, who just had his first reception the other night, also a scholar in the classroom.
I'm here with Paul Clark of McGill-Toolen High School. He is our Scholastic Athlete of the Week. Paul, you play tight end on the field, but also in the classroom and outside the classroom. You are very involved in numerous activities. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, you know, it's very hard to balance your schooling as well as extracurricular activities. You know, just a lot of discipline, a lot of time management is all it really takes. And it's been hard, but it's really something that I pride myself in.
And something else you should be priding yourself in is I see you have been offered a potential placement at Air Force Academy. Tell us a little bit about that and what an honor that is.
It is. It's quite an honor. It's an unbelievable opportunity. You know, nothing's been set in stone yet, but I'm really excited about it. Obviously extremely honored, but just keeping all my doors open right now. So.
Well, for this week, on behalf of the Gulf Coast offices of Alexander Shannara, I want to give you this plaque and also a $250 check for you to use towards college. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
A sweet young man, Dan Brennan. No way he was giving you the evil eye at the pregame show.
He's a big dude.
Paul Clark, 3.7 GPA football, senior football captain of this team, capstone leader as well, and his offers from Tulane and the Air Force Academy. And he's a fine young man. We met him at our pregame show taping at Eastern Shore Hyundai the other night. So take a look at everything that he's done there. Thanks to our friends at the Gulf Coast offices of Alexander Shannara for presenting him with a check, $250 scholarship, and congratulations to him on all his achievements. And this is just the start for that young man.
We're the lucky ones to have these young people introduced into our lives.
How about him talking about time management and discipline?
Yeah.
I could use some help. Just saying, as that one's overthrown.
Most of us could. It's just amazing where you see these young people who've already got so many things, Vic Lockett, figured out.
Sure.
You know?
And they've got so many options, but you like to see stories like that where they're choosing the right option. They're concentrating on their academics, and we forget this is extracurricular that we're covering.
Yep.
A
lot of time,
entertainment.
A lot of time put in here.
And yes, there's a lot of time put into it, and he's excelling on both platforms.
McGill's going to have to punt. Mahler with a spiraling kick that'll roll down to about the 17. St. Paul's just fumbled again.
Wow.
5th turnover. This one's been all McGill. Hey, I want to thank more of our friends, including Alpha Insurance. They are proudly a part of high school football on Friday nights. Have been serving their customers since 1946. Home, auto, and life insurance. They've got hometown agents, outstanding service, and quality discounts for all your insurance needs. Call Alpha. Outstanding services and prices you can afford. Call our friends at Alpha.
Yeah, a lot of good hometown agents. I've got an aunt, Kathy Austin, who does a good job with Alpha. Or now and Marvin.
They're a mainstay.
On Highway 90.
Mainstay in the state of Alabama,
wow,
for sure.
For sure. Yeah, go see Kathy. She's a very nice lady over there on Highway 90.
Tell her Vic sent you.
Yeah.
Tell her Vic sent you.
I don't know if it'll get you any kind of discounts, but
I
go see her.
I like your chances at that finder's fee, though.
Yeah.
Nice job.
And Hoover has come back. They now lead 17-14 with 5 minutes to go over Oak Mountain. Daphne a 10-0 lead over Robertsdale. I want to say hello to Jim Bibby, who is one of the officials in that game tonight, and he was nice enough to send us a text before the game tonight.
Friend down at the wharf?
Yep, absolutely. Give on the far side and nothing doing there. This defense is just... Yeah, I thought
stingy.
Yeah, I thought when Caleb talked about it before the game with us, Dan, when he said schematically, we do a lot of the same things like you said that everybody else does. He said, but our kids they respond so well to Ernest Hill, and they would like to play for him, they want to play for him, and he's like they're a quick learning bunch out there as well.
Yeah, Caleb could not say enough about his coaches or his kids. Or the administration in the school, too.
Yeah, but I'm going to say a lot about him. He's got them playing.
This one far side, and
it did get it in bounds.
Incomplete. Drayton Law with the catch up to the 42-yard line.
Some positive for the Baker Hornets.
That's been their offense. Rush the ball and then take a shot down the sideline.
And not get anything rushing the ball. They have not got anything running the football here tonight.
No.
And they don't have that big play threat.
Right.
I think that's the thing with Trey McMillan, and we saw him last year as just a sophomore. As soon as every time he touches it, he literally has a chance to take it the other way.
Special teams, line of scrimmage, and the ironic thing was, you talk about not having that big play threat, and again, just to retell the story, he dislocated his elbow on a big play. It wasn't just any play. 57-yard run he ripped off from scrimmage against Murphy.
And it wasn't even a tackle. He was just going down and put his arm out to brace himself and fell awkwardly and dislocated his elbow. And
man, that sounds painful.
Yeah. So We are through 3. It's been all McGill here tonight. They lead it by a score of 35-0 on the Green and Phillips Injury Lawyers Game of the Week. Ready to start the 4th here on UTV 44. McGill-Toolen, the 35-0 lead over Baker. Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, Vic Blockett, Ashley Pope on the sideline. Brian Aaron, statistician. Jared Kihas in the truck as we open up quarter number 4. Burden looking to the near side, overthrown and incomplete. Another score to pass along. Theodore, about the Bobcats. They lead Davidson by a score of 19-3.
Yeah, Bobcats are back, Jim.
They are.
Or judging from the early season schedule, they 33-10 winners against this Baker team a week ago.
Right.
Yeah, I failed to mention one of the viewers that watches us every week. She's north of 70. My pastor's mother, Millie Fritz.
Okay.
She doesn't even know what a first down is, but she watches every
because
game.
Of Vic Lockett.
Oh, this group here, she loves it.
Is great.
Oh, so
her kids try to contact her. She doesn't even answer the phone.
She's watching the game of the week.
Watching the game of the week. Unbelievable. So, hello, Miss Millie Fritz. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for watching, Miss Millie. We love hearing stories like that. It is, it is amazing how much it's grown. How much you bump into people.
Yeah.
You're at the gas station or you're somewhere. You're at the grocery store and they want to talk high school football. Filling up the boat in Orange Beach a couple of weeks ago, and a young dock attendant who's all of 22. I'm just standing there putting gas in the boat, and he's like, "Hey Jim, who you got Friday?" It's really cool.
Yeah, it really is, and you got to credit these young guys for putting this great product on the field.
Exactly. And let me tell you, it's tough to get Jim off that boat. He comes in and does this Friday night, and he's right back out there by 11:30.
Hager with the punt, and ball comes loose at the end, and Baker's going to recover it at the 32-yard line. Baker got it. An official signal now. Baker did recover that one as Davis in traffic there.
Yeah, he fumbled that one. He bobbled it. He caught it right in the basket. Got good position right up under the football, but just didn't close his elbows in at the end to secure the football.
Clifford Norwood able to come up with the loose ball. Even at 35-0, that's not going to make the coaches happy over on this sideline.
No, you're right. That's why they play so well. They're coached so well.
Bracey on the right side gets to the 30. He'll pick up a couple.
There's going to be a game down the line. It's going to be a lot closer than 35-0.
Could cost him.
You better catch the punt.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll give Coach Ross something to yell about Sunday, right?
Or fair catch it in that.
Yeah,
when
the
you
traffic.
Much traffic around you. College football started last week. We got the NFL started last night. Sorry, Vic. I wasn't talking about.
You want to rub it in.
It started.
It ruined my Orange Crush I was drinking last night.
NFL starting this weekend.
I had about 1,000 wings too, Jim. I ate 999 of them.
Looking forward to watching some Sunday football.
But you won't put an onion on your pizza.
No onions, never. No onions.
Third down coming up. Just starting to rain outside now here at the Lip.
See my niece, a McGill-Toolen student, Raquel Waller, walking down there. She's on her pink cell phone as well.
And we had rain in the forecast, and it's been dry.
3rd and 7. Burden slings this one to the near side and through the hands of Law. That was a ball that Law probably would like to get another shot at. That was pretty well thrown.
It's been dry all night until right now. Starting to get at least a sprinkle or a drizzle.
So the Orange Crush becomes an orange slush.
I guess it does. I guess it does.
That's very tasty, too.
4th down coming up here for Baker. And I think if you're Coach Danny Smith, you're kind of scratching your head over there right now.
You know, he said, we're going to be a pretty good football team at some point this year. We're not there yet. Big injuries on the offensive line and, of course, at running back.
Blitz coming, and they'll get to Burden, and he's dropped back at the 33. That'll be a change in downs and another great defensive stop.
Vic Lockett when McGill knows you're going to throw, what do?
Yeah, they're sending them. They smell blood in the water, you know. The Yellow Jackets become sharks.
They really, really put pressure on quarterbacks.
The bees see the honey, huh?
Yep. They come after you. They've got quick guys.
They brought the house on him then. I thought he was going to throw it up, at least to try to see if the receiver could make a play, but he just wanted a soft spot to land there. He won't take any chance of a turnover, I see.
Well, it basically was a turnover because
it was last down. Yeah.
Now Turner McLaughlin will come in at quarterback. Paris Chambers done for the night. McGill makes some changes, and Roberson
nice hit.
Takes a big hit. That was Jalen Crenshaw coming over there to put the hit.
Well, now y'all see why I brought my little windbreaker with the hoodie.
I thought you were cold, young man.
No, and you were not inferring that I'm young.
A bad snap all the way back, and McLaughlin will fall on it, just the sophomore, all the way back at the 15-yard line. And it'll bring up third.
You know, Dan, I actually thought your handlers would take care of your jacket and have an umbrella over you.
Well, I've got handlers.
Kind of like P. Diddy.
Yeah. Well, Jared Keyhouse is my handler because every time I leave my jacket behind, which is every time,
he handles getting it back to you.
Exactly.
I mean, you could have a yard sale with all the stuff Brennan and I have left behind over the years.
You know, we don't even have to indict you.
Oh well, I am the world's worst at that. Honey, have you seen my ... is a very common question at the house.
That's why I wear very cheap shades. Because if I don't set on them, I lose them.
Now that's I will not lose a pair of sunglasses. That one I will.
I've set on most of mine, and you know nothing lives behind that.
Fourth and 25.
Asking a lot of any structure.
Sure.
Any man-made device.
Yes.
Flott back to receive the punt. Line drive kick, and he'll fair catch it right at the 40. Then he has some trouble, but able to fall on it, and Baker will take over with 8.5 to go, and that'll give us a chance to tell you about more of our friends and longtime supporters of high school football here on UTV 44. Millsaps and Associates, located at 519 Azalea Road. You can give them a call at 344-0427. All types of insurance, both personal and recreational vehicles, commercially owned, operated vehicles also available to be insured from Millsaps, and they do homes and businesses, life and health insurance and bonds. Millsaps and Associates.
And I know that logo, and that tells me, yep, these guys have been on board with us for a few years now. We appreciate it.
Yep, thanks to all the good folks at Millsaps and all of our sponsors, and so many a part of high school football these days. Down to the 48-yard line goes Ricky Brown.
How about Zaxby's down there feeding the boys?
Boy, when that gets
beautiful young lady.
I'm telling you, Vic, you weren't here when it first got delivered. I mean, they like,
they're smart.
I don't want to use
they get it here early, so because they know I'm gonna be late.
I mean, it was like just ringing the bell at the trough. I mean, they just came out from everywhere.
Yeah. Well deserved though to get it done.
Dan just wanted one French fry. They said, "Can I just get one French fry?" And it.
Did he get a snarl?
He got in there and got out quickly. I mean, that's all he could do.
Well, I know. Know thyself. And I knew.
And want to preserve thyself.
One could turn into 101 real quick, and then we got issues.
Well, but thanks to Zaxby's for getting it here. And there were wings. There were, and the key word there were, wings and chicken fingers. They were just gone in a heartbeat.
Well, I'll tell you what. A crew deserves it. Is this crew
they deserve it?
Out,
yes.
Right? Wow, look at that play. Great effort.
Yeah, before he's get going there, 33's all over him there. Shoestring tackle.
Great penetration. That's Cameron Banks. Had a couple big plays last week against Fairhope. Boy, I mean, they hold Fairhope to 3. They've got Baker shut out here.
Right?
Yeah. And they did it different ways. Last week they sacked Tevin Brown, the quarterback at Fairhope, sacked him 9 times.
Wow. I'm telling you, they just bring the heat. They just stay on your side of the line of scrimmage and challenge you to make something big happen.
Yes, good coaching. You got to give it up to them.
We'll see.
They have got everybody on the same page in the same book at the same time.
Devin Robinson.
In concert.
Devin Robinson now in at quarterback for the Baker Hornets. Mary G beats Foley 31-24. That's a big win for Mary G. Give on the far side into the 25-yard line.
Well, those high schools, for being in the same region, feel like they're a time zone apart.
Yeah.
You know? It's a long ride for whoever's on the road.
That was Matt Walker, the fullback, getting his first carry. And able to gain a first down. Saraland beats Gulf Shores 17-9.
Wow.
Close one there, huh?
Yep.
First and 10 from the 26.
Fumble there.
Yeah, ball came loose, and McGill gets it at the 30. As we got all kinds of fresh jerseys coming in.
Well, it's amazing, Jim. Their reserves play just like the first string.
I was just about to say, these coaches are going to love it that they see that the first teamers have got the second and third teamers playing the same level of football and same intensity that they are. Because coaches will say that, hey, when we get you in the game and we switch you out, we don't want to see the intensity drop. We want to see it pick up because that's your opportunity to get some on tape.
Yep.
May get you in a game early later. Get you some playing time with the first teamers.
And also, when you see second teamers play fast, that means they're playing with confidence.
Correct. Knowing what to do.
I was going to say knowing where to be.
Right.
Knowing where to be.
Give that young man that's on the screen right there a lot of credit. Like I said, getting these folks in the church, Catholically speaking, and on the same pew.
So we take a heat timeout here with just 5:53 left, and
all the heat's on the Hornets right now.
It is. It is. They're kind of looking in the mirror now, trying to figure out where does this season go from here. Now, we see that Mary G, that's a big rival of Baker.
Yep, and Mary G will play host. Will play host to McGill next week. All right, so here a trivia question from earlier. Brought to you by New Horizons Credit Union. What coach holds the record for most playoff wins at McGill-Toolen? And we'll get you that answer coming up.
Wow.
After this banging carry there all the way up. All right,
I can assure you the answer is not what Brian put in there.
All right, no, that's not it.
I said Glenn Yancey.
All right.
Coach Yancey, good football man.
Not you don't have to go back that far.
No, and I know you don't. And how about we just go with
there he is. Bart Sessions.
Bart Sessions.
Wow, okay.
6 playoff wins, the most in McGill-Toolen history.
Wow. Yeah, I guess you're right.
Back I think when Coach Yancey was here, they didn't have the playoffs. I'm not sure they had the playoff structure like they do now.
Oh, really? Think right away of Savarese because he was there during the turnaround.
Right. Wouldn't hear all that long.
No, I guess you're right.
Coach Powell had the great run.
Yeah, Powell would have been my, guess, and he had a nice little run in between Sav and Sessions, right?
Yep.
It's become a very strong program. But
it has.
It's so based on the foundation is so solid with the way these kids are coached.
Sure. And any coach would want to coach here. You got the people behind it, the expectations are there, and the finances are here.
Yeah, and the facilities, just facilities second to none here. Great place. Brian Hill in running the football now for.
Just take a look at those helmets.
Pretty sharp, huh?
They are very nice.
So not only do they run the offense like Oregon.
They dress and going to start switching out every week.
How about this score? Satsuma leading Thomasville 14-13.
Ooh, wow.
That would be a huge win.
Satsuma's coming back. They're going to make some wholesale changes up there on their facility. So they're setting the tone to get sellouts up there in the near future.
And that's on the road in Thomasville too, right? I believe it was.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I believe it was.
Up to the 45 and 4th down coming up here. The Yellow Jackets.
And again, Vic wasn't with us last week, but we've seen 2 dominating wins in 2 weeks' time, Vic, and they don't really resemble each other.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're so I think maybe because it was more explosive, big plays, 60, 70-yard passes.
A lot of wow plays, a lot of wow moves, a lot of,
just the athletics just stood out.
Boy, man, the individual plays that were outstanding.
Well, remember, guys, this is McGill, and this is their MO, how you're seeing them tonight. Different group, different style of winning, different philosophy, and the difference in the athletics.
All right. Our Green and Phillips Injury Lawyers Game of the Week also brought to you by the Orthopedic Group.
Good guys over there.
Yep. Advanced Collision.
We've seen a few of those tonight.
And Greer's Cash Saver and Food Tiger.
My man Robert.
He's been your man as long as we've been doing this, Vic, and I think probably longer.
Yeah, red, white, and orange, blue, one of the finest fellas.
How many years you been up here, Liz?
I think it's coming on about 6 or 7. Don't ask me to do much math now.
So glad to have you up here.
Yeah, I enjoy it with you guys. Y'all make it fun.
Give up to about the 20. So Jackson beats St. Paul's tonight 23-7.
Wow.
Shocker, that'll reverberate through the state.
Murphy and Viger are headed to overtime at 14 apiece.
Isn't that
Is that the Mayor's Cup?
Yep. Hoover came back and beat Oak Mountain 17-14.
Status quo, other than the closeness of the score.
Yeah, they were trailing in that one and came back to win. Some great games.
They say you can learn a lot about somebody by looking at their desk.
Right.
I've never seen a coach's desk look as clean as Caleb Ross.
I can believe that.
Never.
That you talk to him, you get
Even
that impression.
Coach Curtis?
It's everything is in.
Yeah, Curtis
has got peanut chills depending on what time of the day it is.
Curtis's is like a showroom. It's like it's
a museum.
Yeah, a little bit.
All the trophies and rings you got to step over to get to his desk.
It's like a CEO's.
I believe that's 42 straight wins maybe for Hoover. Is that the longest that their winning streak going right now? No, it's not. No, I don't know. That's not correct.
Whatever the streak is, they had to work to get it.
Yep. So we approach 2 minutes to go.
Well, for Danny Smith, you hope some of those injured linemen come back soon.
Yep.
You hope your injured All-State running back comes back real soon and changes the course of this offense, which has really struggled the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and they are just in, like you talked about it earlier, they've got Fairhope next week. So, just looking at what they have gone through here, Murphy, Theodore, McGill, and Fairhope. How about that for a month of schedules?
Yeah.
And Danny said, it's like the SEC West.
Yeah, and Theodore is back, where they were not a factor for a few seasons.
And they've got Big P. Ryan committed to Florida,
right?
Toting the mail up there. There's their schedule right there.
Take a look what Baker's got coming up. So Fairhope, BC Rain, Foley, Bryant. Then they get a week off. Montgomery and Mary G. and Davidson. So you can see, it's very top heavy here to open up the season.
You have the Theodore. Wow, what a hit there. Theodore playing better. You have Mary G. playing better. That really just thickens this whole region.
Yep.
And I love it. I like the competitiveness.
Sure.
Everybody doing well. Hey, this is a hit here. You upended him there. Thank God it was still in bounds when they started the contact, so no flags.
Brian Hill making the stop.
How about that? These second teamers that are putting on highlight reel hits.
Yeah, this is that's why they practice hard all week, so they get a chance to get in there. There's a flag coming in that one.
He almost hits the player with the flag there.
Flag on play.
And they're going deeper on the bench now.
Everybody trying to get everybody in is Coach Ross holding here on Baker's. We're down to 43 seconds left. Mobile Christian leading Sweetwater 43-28.
Saraland, look forward to that so much next week, but I heard somebody describing some traffic on the Bayway. Said it's like a parking lot here. Now I really know what they mean.
Yeah, you're going to have to let us use your chopper that weekend.
Let me tell you.
We're going
to work something out.
Yeah, it is bad. And, hey, you know how late I'm getting there, and everybody's coming when I'm coming.
Yeah, I tell you, Dan and I talked about we're going to park at the Walmart and Uber it to the press box. I'm going to have the Uber waiting to take me out of there with some.
I just hope it's my first Uber ride is not some really weird Uber guy. I don't
I don't know how they got the stadium pass fire code to do that. One way in, one out, to be honest.
Well, we'll report back to you in 2 weeks how the post-game traffic is. But this one is over in all McGill-Toolen. Dominant performance here, 35-0, and they controlled it from the opening kick.
Yeah. A couple of guys have a lot of respect for each other.
Genuinely like one another.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell that from our interactions that they had at the pregame show.
And I think that one can relate to the other.
Sure. Yeah.
Because Caleb Ross last year
kind of went through.
Not everybody was crazy about the way the Jackets were playing internally.
Yep.
With the fan base, and they're happy that they just said, let that one slide.
Yeah.
It's working out now.
Young players, injuries, that type stuff. So a great.
Same thing Baker's facing.
Great win here tonight for McGill. They improved to 3-0, and Baker drops down to 1-3 on the season. And they've got to get Trey McMillan back and healthy to help them get their season turned around, because it's a daunting task the rest of the way. We were just looking at that schedule, and 7A Region 1, it does not get any easier week in, week out. It's a tough matchup as we go down to Ashley for our final orthopedic group sideline report. She's got Coach Ross.
Coach Ross, not only is this your home opener and you won, but it was a shutout.
Yeah, very impressive. Another great night by the defense. I was very impressed with what they did again. I was proud of our offense and offensive staff. You know, Zach Golson, offensive coordinator. We had a good game plan, man. I was really proud of them. I was proud of the kids. It's a big win. It really is.
Well, just a little bit off of football for a moment. Not only was this the first home game of the season, but also it was your daughter's first home football game. She is still in the stands. I think she's asleep. And all of us at UTV 44, we would like to give her a little gift.
Thank you.
She's our UTV 44 baby. We just want to say congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. She'll definitely appreciate it. I'm glad she's happy.
Thanks.
Thank y'all very much.
Thanks,
very proud. It's a good night for Yellow Jackets. It is.
You do not have to vote. There are no other babies that you'll have to vote against. She's the baby of the week.
Our UTV 44 baby of the week. That's a nice move by Ashley.
Yeah,
it was
very
nice.
Very nice. So you see the final score there, 35-0 McGill with the win over Baker, as we get ready to tell you about our players of the game that we have for this week. But I just can't say enough about McGill-Toolen, Vic Lockett.
Yeah, I mean, both sides of the ball, and you guys pointed it out, that special teams set the tone from the first play of the game. It permeated over to the defense. Defense played well. Offense played well. And how about Paris Chambers and his maturation?
I mean, just what a great night he had. And just went through it last year, has really grown up. As you talked about the spring practices, 7-on-7, how great he was. And we're already thinking maybe 2 weeks we might get to see him against Blunt.
Boy, wouldn't that be something? The two teams that won dominant in dominant performances the last 2 weeks on UTV 44 do meet in a couple of weeks, but stay tuned.
All right, let's take a look at our players of the game. Vote for players of the game. You've got Paris Chambers, the big night, 18-28, 238 yards. Alex Davis, 3 catches, 40 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And also Marlon Williams, who had 4 catches, 60 yards, and a touchdown.
And I got to say something about a defensive player.
How about
Blake
that?
Arsenault, number 25.
Yep.
He had a well of a game. He had plenty of tackles on the other side of the line of scrimmage.
He is just your typical McGill-Toolen outside linebacker that we've seen for years, right?
Yes.
They're cookie cutter, just cookie cutter. They all come through here. A lot of them have the last name Pond, as we've seen over the
That
years.
too.
Right?
Yeah.
There's our final score. So for Ashley Pope down on the sideline, Jared Kihas in the truck, Brian Aaron, our statistician, Vic Lockett, Dan Brennan, I'm Jim Cox saying good night from the Lip, where McGill-Toolen wins at 35-0. We'll see you next week in Saraland.